Hi everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how to do this Mosaic Chevron design, which is section 6 of our Mosaic Sampler Blanket Mystery Knit Along. We're using Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling Yarn, which Lion Brand was kind enough to provide for me for free for this knit along. In our last section, we used this color, which was our color F, and for color F, I'm using hazelnut, and we used that along with our color E, which was this steel blue color. Now in this section, we're replacing our darker color, our color E, and we're going all the way back to the beginning with color A, which is this rust color called Adobe. So here you can see our darker color has switched out. It was color E, and now we're going back to color A. Just like with every other section so far, we're starting with a solid 2 rows of garter stitch in the color that is not changing from our previous section. So in our previous section, we used the blue and the hazelnut. So the hazelnut is the color that's not changing, which is color F, and you can see that these first 2 rows are just knit with color F. So I've gone ahead and done those 2, and there they are. And now we can go ahead and jump into row 3. The first 2 stitches and last 2 stitches of each row show what color you're going to be using when you work that row. So if you look at row 3 is a darker color row. It starts with color A, right? And all the stitches in this row are either knit with color A or they're slipped from the row below. And when you slip it from the row below, you're going to be picking up this lighter color, color F. So the V's, regardless of which color you're picking up, are going to be slips. And the knit stitches tell you what color that row is. So I've made a little loop of color A, and I'm going to join that in this knit stitch, and then I'm going to tuck the tail out of the way using the next couple of stitches just to keep it from getting tangled up. Okay, so that's my first 3 stitches in color A, which is what we have here, 1, 2, 3 in color A. Next I slip a stitch, okay, and then I'm going to knit 2 stitches. So 1, 2. Then I'm going to slip a stitch. Then I'm going to knit 3 stitches and slip a stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and slip a stitch. Okay. Then I'm going to knit 2 and slip a stitch. And then I come back to the beginning of the repeat and I knit 1 and slip a stitch. So my pattern here, if I start looking at the repeat, forget the slips. The slips are between each of these sections, right? The sections go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So that's kind of the pattern. It's like knit 1, slip a stitch, knit 2, slip a stitch, knit 3, slip a stitch, knit 2, slip a stitch, knit 1, slip a stitch. So if you can memorize that, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, that will help you get through the repeats without having to look every time. So I've just done 1, so now I'm going to do 2 and slip a stitch, and then 3 and slip a stitch. And then back down 2 and slip a stitch, and then oops, I'm all the way down to my last 3 stitches, so I'm done with the repeats, and all 3 of those are going to be knit. So 1, 2, 3. Now obviously you're going to be doing more repeats if you're making a blanket. This is just a narrow swatch of 2 repeats only, but you would keep repeating that pattern until you got to your last 3 stitches. So let's do row 4. On the wrong side row, we could follow along with the chart, and knit the stitches that are shown as knits and slip the stitches that are shown as slips. But you may notice that all the stitches that we knit on row 3, we're going to knit on row 4, and all the stitches we slipped on row 3, we're going to slip on row 4. It's the exact same row. So all we have to do is knit the stitches we knit before and slip the stitches we slipped before. And conveniently, the stitches that we knit are in the same color that we're using. The stitches that we slipped are in the opposite color. So we just knit the stitches that are the same color we're using and slip the stitches that are the opposite color. So I'm knitting these, and now here I come to one I need to slip. The only thing to be careful of on the wrong side row, on the wrong side you slip with your yarn in front. On the right side you slip with it in back, on the wrong side in front. So our yarn is at the back because we've been knitting, so we need to bring it to the front, slip this stitch, and then bring it to the back again so we can continue knitting. And what that does is these floats over the slipped stitches, that puts all the floats on the wrong side of the fabric so none of them show on the right side. So now we knit these ones that are the same color, bring our yarn to the front, slip, bring our yarn to the back, and knit until we see another one that's a different color. There we go. So bring the yarn to the front, slip, bring it to the back, and knit. There's another slipped stitch, so bring the yarn to the front, slip, back, knit, front, slip, back, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit these two, slip one, and knit the last three. And all of our wrong side rows are going to be exactly that. Knit the knits, slip the slips. Row 5 is a lighter colored row, which means we need to switch to our lighter color. Whenever you switch colors, always pick the new color up from in front of the other color, not behind it, so not like that, always in front. And what that does, it makes it twist over, but you'll always be twisting in the same direction. So next time we'll twist like this, right? And then next time we'll twist like this. And that creates a nice braided edge along the side, or twisted edge along the side, that gets kind of pushed to the back a little bit too. So that keeps our edge nice and neat. So we're going to pick up our lighter color from in front of our darker color, and we're going to knit two. Now we slip one, knit two, slip one, knit two, slip one, knit two. This whole row is just slip one, knit two. Let's make sure what happens when we start the repeat over. Slip one, knit two, then we come back and start the repeat, slip one, knit two. So we don't even have to look at the chart, we just know we can go slip one, and remember our yarn's at the back now, so we don't have to move it. So slip one, knit two, slip one, knit two, and we keep doing this all the way across until we get down to those last three stitches. And I'm down to my last three stitches, and my last three stitches I'm going to slip one and knit two. Gee, that sounds familiar. Slip one and knit two. So now I'll do the wrong side row, which is row 6, and then we'll come back and take a look at row 7 together. For the wrong side row, I again knit the knits and slip the slips with the yarn in front. So now we're on to row 7, which is a darker color row. So I'm going to pick up my darker color from in front of my lighter color, and we're going to knit 4. Now we slip one, knit two, then we slip one, knit one, slip one, and then we knit two, slip one. So knit two, slip one, okay? And then coming back around here, we're going to knit one, whoop, back over here and knit two more, so knit 3. So 1, 2, 3. So let's take a look at what we've just done, okay? Not counting these end stitches here. What we've done is we slipped one, knit two, slipped one, knit one, slipped one, knit two, slip one, knit 3. So there is that 2, 1, 2, 3 pattern that we had before, that next will go down to 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3, right? So you can kind of get that sense. It's similar to the pattern we had down here, just shifted a little bit. So I have just finished knitting these 3 here, 1 and 2 here, so 3. And so it's slip 1, knit 2, then slip 1, knit 1. So it's slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, then slip 1, knit 2, and the next would be slip 1, knit 3, and so on until you're finished with all of your repeats. And then you come here and you go slip 1, knit 1 to finish off your last repeat. And then you're left with 3 more stitches, all of which are knit. So 1, 2, 3. I will do the wrong side row, which is row 8, and then we'll come back and look at row 9 together. Now we're seeing that 3, 2, 1 pattern pop up repeatedly throughout this pattern, and here it is again in row 9, because skipping these first 2, right, we're just looking at the repeat section. We have 1 knit, and then a slip, 2 knits, then a slip, 3 knits, then a slip, and then 2, and then 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it's actually 1, 2, 3, 2, and then you start again, 1, 2, 3, 2. So let's pick up our lighter color, and that's kind of the motif that runs through it. It's just a matter of where you start in that repeat. So with our lighter color, we start with the 2 edge stitches plus 1, so we knit 3. So there's 1 and slip, okay? Knit 2 and slip, knit 3 and slip. Now back down, 2, okay, and slip, 1 and slip, 2, because now we're going back up, and slip, 3 and slip, 2 and slip, and now I'm down to my last 3 stitches, which are, where am I here? Okay, slip. The last 3 are all knit stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And again, that's 1 and then the 2 edge stitches. So that's that pattern of 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 all the way through. I'll do the wrong side, and then we'll come back and take a look at row 11. Now row 11 is that other pattern we've been seeing through here, which is knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, all the way across. It's just, even from the edges, it's just knit 2, slip 1, right? We saw that down here in row 5, just with the opposite colors of knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1. So let's go ahead and do that. That is the dark color row. So we pick up our darker color from in front, okay? And we're going to knit 2, and slip 1, and we're just going to repeat that pattern all the way across the row. Last 3 stitches, slip 1 and knit 2. So that one was easy, right? Knit 2, slip 1 all the way across. Okay, I will do row 12, and then we'll come back and do row 13. Now row 13 is that 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern again, which basically means that this whole design is just variations on the 2 row patterns, right? There's the knit 2, slip 1 pattern that shows up here and here, and all the rest of the rows are 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, just shifted in different spots, right? So for this one, we're going to start with 4 knits. Let's get that out of the way, okay? But here's 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3 right there, right? So there's our 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. And so it's that same pattern again. So let's start with our 4 knits in the lighter color. And slip 1. And then we've got 2, 1. Okay, so that's where we're at in that pattern. So it's 2 and slip 1. Then it's 1 and slip 1. Then it's 2 and slip 1. and then 3, whoops, there we go, 3, and slip 1. Then what comes next? 2, right? Because we gotta go back down. Slip 1, then 1, slip 1, then 2, slip 1, and now I got 4 stitches left on my needle, which are all knit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I will do row 14 and we'll come back and talk about repeating the pattern. Now this next row, how come it doesn't have a row number? Well, that's because it's not technically the next row. We're going to repeat. Do you see where the repeat is? The repeat doesn't go all the way to the top this time, right? We're going to repeat from rows 3 to 14 until you get the length you want. End after any wrong side, like end the repeats after any wrong side row in the lighter color, because the next row that you do then is this one, which is 2 rows of knitting in the darker color, and that's our border, right? So just like we had this between sections, this is the end of the blanket. So this is the end border to match the border that we started with. So that's where I am. I finished all my repeats. Now I'm going to come do these 2 rows. And that's why they don't have numbers, because I don't know how many rows you're going to do, so I don't know what number that's going to be. So these 2 rows are just bring up your darker color and then knit every stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So all that's left to do, because that is the end of section 6, right? So all that's left for us to do now is going to be to bind off. So I just used a simple bind off for my blanket. You can use any bind off you want, preferably something that matches your cast on edge pretty well. The simple bind off, you start by knitting 2, then you pull the back one over the front one, and then you knit another one, pull the back one over the front one, and so on until all of the stitches are bound off. So I'm just going to go ahead and bind off all of these stitches, cut my yarns, and then the last thing to do is weave in ends, which I'm probably not going to bother with because this is just a swatch. Now you may notice that the top row of garter might look on yours a little bit looser than the rest of your blanket. That's natural. It comes from doing the color work and slipping the stitches, but blocking it should fix that really easily. It's all garter stitch, so it should even out pretty easily. It's just a matter of your tension while you're working with the colors. I also think it's very important to look at the back of anything that's going to be a blanket, because you want it to look pretty. And so this is how the back of my blanket looks. You can vaguely see some of the designs that are in there, but mostly it just looks like stripes of the different colors. And there's no big long floats to catch toes or fingers. So it's perfect for a baby blanket or a pet blanket. In fact, I think this one's going to end up being Millie's. And that's the end. That's how you do the Mosaic Chevron pattern, which is section 6 of the Mosaic Sampler Blanket Mystery Knit Along. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or leave me a comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great videos. Thanks for watching.